name is Sophia, and today we're going to be talking about the book The Grief Keeper by Alexandra Villasante, and specifically we're going to be talking about Marisol's sexuality and kind of how that personal thing was kind of just like ruined for her, and kind of the harm she went through when dealing with her sexuality, which we all know is very personal to yourself. So through pages 211 and 213, we kind of see the sick joke played out, kind of like an anecdote in this book, and basically Marisol goes and sees Liliana at work, and they're obviously on two very different pages, and Liliana knows this. You know, her and Marisol's brother are kind of behind this whole sick joke, and we see Liliana come out to see Marisol while she's at work, and you know, they're kind of sharing a very personal, intimate moment, and then all of a sudden Liliana pulls back and starts to cruelly laugh at her, and you know, says like, oh, Pablo's right, like, you are a dyke. And basically on 213, Marisol says a slap would not have been sharper. You know, she kind of feels that stab in the back from Liliana, and this is something very personal. It's like, we're not just talking about something willy-nilly, like, this is her sexuality, like, this isn't something you joke about with other people. It's a very personal experience with everyone, and it was really, really tough on Marisol, and you can see that when you're reading this very, it kind of just like was making me cringe, like, reading it, because you just feel so terrible for her. So on page 213, after Liliana and Marisol are kind of sharing this intimate moment, we see Liliana say, "It's true," she says with a cruel laugh. "So tortillera," sorry, Spanish is not my thing, as you can tell, but I'm trying. But I put it through Google Translate, and it does actually mean a very derogatory term. It means dyke, so we obviously know that's not a very nice word, and that obviously hurts Marisol a lot because she hears that word from her brother as well, and you can see that on page 245. Sorry, let me get there. So we see him say, "Do you like to kiss girls, Armanita? Are you one of those twisted girls, tortillera? You love English words, don't you, dyke? That's what you are. That's the word for you." So we see all these just negative, derogatory terms being thrown at her, and she obviously feels terrible. You know, she feels guilt that she's like this, and they're also throwing it back in her face, being like, "We don't want Gabby to be like you, like, we don't want you to twist her like you are," you know. So obviously it's not going very well with Marisol. We do see some signs towards healing, though, once we meet Ray and they start to grow together and kind of build a relationship. And finally, like, we kind of start to see Marisol work past the whole Liliana thing, even though she does, like, she does mention that, like, how she needs to keep reminding herself that Ray is not Liliana, and, like, she's safe with Ray, and, you know, and we see a moment where Ray, on page 247, when Ray takes off Marisol's cuff, which, as we know, is the connecting factor that gives Ray Marisol, sorry, I cannot speak, that gives Ray's grief to Marisol. I'm sorry. And so, yeah, she takes it off, and then they start to hug, and Marisol says, "I let myself be held, then reached my arms around her to hold her too. This is the most dangerous thing I've ever done." And this is kind of like when we see Marisol start to let go, and this is kind of almost like the turning factor, the turning point of when the relationship just starts to go up, which is very good. And we also see them kiss, and there's also a part also on page 247 where Marisol, they're holding hands, and Marisol asks, like, "This isn't bullshit, right, you and me?" And Ray shakes her head gravely and says, "No, this isn't bullshit." And then they kiss, I'm sorry. And I love this quote on page 270 after they kiss. I think about her pale pink cheek against my brown one. Cafe crema? I smile, and that is my answer. And to me, that's like fireworks right there. Like, that's when we realize, like, oh, yay. Like, when it comes to the terms of her sexuality, like, I feel like she's healed, and we see that. And as far as healing from other sources, I think of just like the big one was just her search for asylum with her and her sister. Like, yes, she's kind of gotten her sexuality figured out to some point with Ray, but that almost doesn't even matter if Marisol gets sent back to El Salvador. So the healing from the other sources, I really think, comes from Ray's dad and Indrani. I'm sorry if I'm not saying her name right, Indrani. And so I feel like the full healing process will be done once she knows her and her sister are fully safe and they can stay. And so, yeah, thank you.